So we back, man. It's crazy. Back with another episode, huh, Jay?
Oh yeah, back with another one. PDX Biz Talk.
That's what's up, bro.
Talking with real business owners.
Making real business moves.
Yep.
I like your sweater, bro.
Damn, I'm out here.
Where'd you get that?
From, I don't know.
I don't know the company name.
That's that PDX Biz Talk podcast merch. Yeah, man. Be sure to let us know if y'all want to see some merch available. If y'all would cop some, make sure you let us know in the comments or just reach out however you can reach out, man. I got mine. It got all this dog fur on it, man. The price of being a dog parent. You know how it goes.
There you go. Yeah, dog owners out here. All the white furs and shit.
Yep.
But yeah, man, welcome back to the podcast, everybody who's tuning in. You know me, I go by the name of Zeke Jones, a.k.a. Young Mill. You know, this is the podcast where we have real business conversations with real business owners. And speaking of real business owners, bro, we got special guests in the house tonight. A real special guest. For those who are part of the sneaker culture, you might have heard of him and you probably wanted to buy his shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I hope so.
Introducing our boy Meek Shoes. What's going on?
What it do?
Yeah, we out here. Thank you for
Yeah.
us coming out here.
Sir. Yeah, I go by the name of Malik, also Meek Shoes, and I am a bespoke sneaker creator.
Yeah, okay.
That's kind of the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
you
So
go.
for the people who might not know, what does bespoke mean?
It's more of a unique one-of-one idea concept process from start to finish.
Right.
I do everything except for form the rubber outsole.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
you source
When
all
it
the
comes-
materials and come up with the vision.
Exactly. It's what I've been doing previously with sneakers, but on a whole nother level.
Yeah, we're right here pretty much in your headquarters, right?
Yeah, the studio.
Your
the
studio, yep.
The
Which is
studio.
your garage in your house.
The
Yes,
workshop.
yes, sir.
I
Yeah,
like
you
that.
you gotta work with what you gotta
Of course,
work
yeah,
with.
you gotta
know?
just- yeah, of
and
course.
trust me, this space filled up quick.
Oh, yeah.
I
I can
cannot
tell.
wait to move to a bigger place.
It's looking good
And-
too, man.
Yeah, I mean,
So
gotta make
just
the
to get
best.
us started, like, how did you get in the sneaker game? What really inspired you to like get behind the wheel and start buying sneakers and collecting sneakers and, you know, just diving into the culture?
I started really, really young. I mean, elementary school.
Right.
I was a basketball player, so watching the NBA, having your favorite players, Tracy McGrady, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James,
Oh, yeah.
who was up and
Goats.
coming. I'm 28 years old, so me growing up in elementary school, LeBron James was fresh out of St. Vincent, St. Mary,
Oh, yeah.
and the PEs were popping off, dude. He was phenomenal. So I found myself taking a liking to him
Right.
super, super early.
So you're a basketball fan first.
I'm a basketball fan
Absolutely.
first. That's what got me into the whole sneaker game, just to start with. I really had a falling out, I feel like, towards middle school, high school, just because I was into more basic things like Vans, you know.
Oh, yeah.
The
Everybody
jerk
had to jump on
movement
that
was
wave.
going on. Yeah, so it was real big. They were comfortable, they were super cheap, so you can get them in every like different colorway. And but when I started making my own money, I wanted to get all that old shit that I did not. I can
Hey,
curse on here, right?
everybody
We
does
can
that.
all
Yeah,
relate to
we
that,
all
bro.
do that,
Because I
yeah.
know as a kid, I didn't always have, or my parents didn't always have the money to get all the J's and the fancy and the Bapes, the bathing apes and all the crazy
So when you
stuff.
can, you get it.
But once I got my first check, yeah,
Dude.
you knew what I
It's
went to go
tough not
get.
to spend it on what you want, and that
That's
was
true.
just sneakers.
Yeah. So growing up, which athlete is the one that said, "Oh, like you look at them like they have the shoe deal"? Like which athlete is the one that?
It had to have been LeBron. It was every
So it was
single
him.
year. My mom
Gotcha.
wanted to get me one brand new pair of shoes every single year. I'd purposely beat them to shreds towards the end of the year,
So you can
and I
re-up.
tried to ask for a shoe early. Right? I'm like, I can't wear these anymore. Like I'm slipping, sliding, so I need to get a fresh pair. And yeah, it was like early Zoom generation LeBrons that I was really getting into. My first pair of Jordans ever were a pair of forest green 14s, and they came out in I think 2004, 2005.
Right.
But I actually went back. I copped a dead stock pair. I haven't worn it till this day, but
I
it's
feel
just
that,
my
bro.
first Jordan ever. So I wanted to regain
you
that
still own it?
moment. I still own it.
Yeah, I can relate to that heavy because the Cool Grade 3s was one of the first kicks that I really like. I don't know why, I just latched onto them.
Yep.
And I just bought 2 pairs of that stock just recently
Yes.
because I was like, bro, from my childhood, I think they dropped it when I was like in 8th grade or something like that.
Yep.
So I had to go just double up, bro. You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah,
the
bro.
culture, man. You
Yeah.
gotta stay in it. You gotta stay in it. If you're out for a second,
Yep.
it pulls you back in, man.
Oh, for sure.
So what made you go from liking shoes to actually start? Like, did you go and buy and sell shoes at first, or did you start just creating them and being like start customizing them and stuff?
So
a good question.
at the time, I had just gotten a job at T-Mobile. So I was wanting to get, the only thing that we could wear was all black shoes. So I wanted to get all black shoes. And then I started pushing the limits with the dress code, you know?
Yeah.
What I would start out doing is just buying really old retros, stuff that's beat up. I remember I had a pair of Legend Blue 11s. I fixed the patent leather on and unyellowed them. Or I had a pair of Columbia 4s and midsole repaint, just clean up. It was all white leather, so you got to get the stitching looking nice. That was really what it started out doing, is I would just buy really old Jordans, real beat up Jordans, and I would start turning them into these little gems, these little like, oh, he got this for a good deal.
Right.
And look at how clean they look.
Hell yeah.
Once I started bragging on sneaker like social media
the forums
pages
and stuff, like-
yeah, the forums, the Facebook pages, Instagram, people would be like, yo, I need you to do mine. I need you to get, I need to hop on this.
Oh, that's cool.
I gotta, and yeah, I remember.
So it started growing naturally, organically, just
Yeah,
crazy.
seriously.
Did you predict that happen, or was it just like you just doing it for yourself?
No way. I watched YouTube videos on how to restore sneakers and make them look brand new for like 2 years before
YouTube
I
is key to make
decided
videos. Yeah.
that I
That's
could
right.
actually do it from, do it from the bottom. And once I found a nice little hitch for it, I was like, okay, this could be a nice little side hustle.
Right.
So I started asking, first I wanted to build up a portfolio. So I would literally go on these sneaker forums. I would go on these Facebook pages. I'll say, first person to DM me a picture of their shoe that needs to be restored, I'll do it for free.
Right.
And I just wanted to get a log of what I could do, get good feedback from local people who trust me. And that's what initiated it all.
So
I realized I could start doing it as like a legitimate business when people were asking, and I started doing more and more.
That's actually pretty important. I think in there I found a gem. Would you say that, like, I mean, a lot of people who are starting businesses probably don't really realize this, that you can probably get a lot of exposure from just doing stuff for free. Would you say that that's recommended at the beginning of some careers?
I would highly suggest it. I know a lot of people who are kind of big in the sneaker game when it comes to making bespoke one-of-ones. Some of them just have the attitude that, if I'm going to do it for somebody, they're going to pay for it.
Right.
And I actually am building a shoe for free for a celebrity who I've gotten to know through the sneaker game. Right. And I'm going to his show in Portland in January, and his name's Chris D'Elia.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that dude has a giant following.
sick.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize he's a sneakerhead, right?
He's a huge
I had
sneakerhead.
no clue.
Yeah, he's a huge sneakerhead, and I followed him for so long. It's like one of the things that I do while I'm working on shoes all day long is listen to podcasts. And his is one of them that I listen to a lot because he has one with his brother, and I have a brother who was really close to age. He died when I was 23 years old, but his relationship with his brother, I feel like I can connect with a lot. And so that's why I watch his podcast. And then when I found out he was a sneakerhead, it was like a no-brainer that I could do this for him. So
That's what's up.
I am not shy to doing the work for free. I've had celebrities pay for stuff.
Right.
I've even done stuff for some Nike employees,
Yeah.
And
It's
that's
all
cool.
about networking.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, so-
It's all networking.
Yep.
So what would you say? I mean, you kind of just answered it, but like, what do you say that's like the biggest benefit of doing something that's maybe like pro bono or cheaper than
It's
you
got
would
to
want
be
to charge?
the connections. It's got to be them working for you just like you're working for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's still an agreement. It's still an unspoken agreement, you know? I pumped out a couple of T-shirts, and I did a for merchandise I was doing for my brand, and the guy who did my merchandise cut me a deal because I did a custom for him, and so I'm getting some bread off of my deal, and we're working together to grow as a collective community. Unity in the community is something that I've always preached when it comes to the sneaker community specifically.
Yeah. So when you first started, you only restored sneakers. You didn't do any customization stuff.
I didn't do no customizations. I didn't really want
story,
to. It was just wanting to clean up shoes for the most part, and then I do midsole repaints when I had to.
Mm-hmm.
Then it started getting into re-glues, and
What does that mean
it kind of
exactly?
took off. So a re-glue is essentially repurposing an upper of a shoe with a brand new outsole
Gotcha.
and midsole,
Oh, okay.
or just an outsole in general, because that's the part that gets worn down the most on a pair of shoes. But yeah, when you're dealing with restorations, that's like the top ticket thing.
Just resold like the
Yeah, it costs a lot of it costs a lot of money because it's a lot of work.
And people spend that money just to get the bottoms just read down their shoes.
Yes, one thing that I want to urge the most is never undersell yourself when being a small business owner. Never underestimate what your value is worth. The same that I would do some work for free, I still mentally have a price point of what that is worth and what I am giving away and what I am getting in return. So it doesn't matter who you are. You have to build your own worth. That's why I started doing things for free until I could start charging more for the painted customs. Yeah,
that's key. So then when I do like an evaluation,
exactly.
even if there's no actual money swapping hands,
yes,
there's still an exchange of value.
The very first restoration that I was paid for, I had no idea how much to charge for it. And that's something that everybody has to understand is like, if you're getting into it, you don't have any reference points.
You don't know. Yeah.
You don't know. You're just getting into this as a hobby. Right. You wanted to do it for yourself because it was fun. But I never knew what I was supposed to charge for those very first restorations, those very first general cleanings and repaints.
Plus, it's a custom job. So it's like a different kind of invoice.
And plus, nobody was doing this at the time. Like, this is 2014, 2015.
Right.
So very, very early, me getting out of high school, this was not a thing. So people doing YouTube videos about restorations had just became a thing at that time. I had caught it at its infancy. Sure, sneaker customization has definitely been a thing for a very long time. And that's why you have some of these like veterans when it comes to like True Blue Customs or like Sneaker Surgeon, like these these people that have been in the game for a very long time, pre-social media. They were on Nike chat talk forum groups to get clients at the time.
That's crazy.
So that's
I remember the first time I stumbled across a pair of like Air Force Ones or Jordan ones that had like some leather on them or something. I was like,
you're like, what the hell?
I was like, this is clean, bro.
The craziest stuff that I've seen, like from really, really OG guys, is like that. There's like an Air Max that's like a Warhawk. Yeah. It's got like the little smile on it. It looks like the battleship.
Yeah.
That is a really, really crazy custom that you put on like other shoes. So
yeah. So what equipment do you have what equipment do you need, I guess, to start out doing this kind of stuff? Let's say somebody that just wants to start out, they have a minimal budget. Like, do you need a sewing machine? Like, what do you recommend them to start out with?
When I started out, when I was taking it serious, I was really more focused on filming those jobs and putting them up on my YouTube channel, because YouTube was a really, really big thing for me at the time. So yeah, IG for me wasn't even a thing. Like, you guys go to my IG now, it's popping. It was not. It was pre 1,000 followers. You know, I was just doing this for fun. So I was really focused on my YouTube, and my YouTube was blowing up, doing video production. It was like sourcing the music from local artists too, and putting it on my YouTube, doing the editing yourself so that the cuts look clean, doing on feeds at the end. Like, I was super, super passionate about it. So that's where it started. I would do this work sometimes for free and pump out 1 or 2 videos a week type of thing. And it was really really cumbersome. Like,
so what was the moment that you kind of realized, okay, this is a cool thing that I'm doing? How can I monetize this?
So after my brother had passed away, when he was 23 years old, he passed away. I ended up moving to Idaho, and it was sort of like me coping with the situation my own way by removing myself from the situation. And through that journey, I found that I wanted to be around family. I wanted to be around the sneaker community, and because it was something that I was really passionate about. And my YouTube, I felt like my YouTube career was kind of dying out there. So after 3 years of living in Idaho, after my lease was up, I moved back to Vancouver, and I decided to take it serious at that point.
Around what year was that?
That was 2018.
Okay.
That was 2018. So it then became I don't want to do this as a side thing anymore, because T-Mobile was still paying the bills. Yeah. And I wanted to make it a priority. When I came back, of course, I needed to kind of get myself up and going again when I moved to Vancouver. So I still worked the job at T-Mobile, but it became my side hustle. I was only doing 2 days a week.
That's T-Mobile,
When I would go into my shifts, I was printing off shipping labels with their printers. I was using their ink. I was using their shipping tape to tape up the boxes. And on my paid 15-minute break, I would go across the street to the USPS. I'd drop off the boxes.
Hey, that's crime, bro.
That's grinding. That's hustling, yeah.
Seriously, and it was a full switch in my brain that made me realize I don't want to work this job anymore. And in 2019, I did that for about a year. In 2019, I ended up quitting my job. They asked me, it's the winter time, it was coming up, it's working retail. So they were wanting me to put in hours. They were like, hey, you used to be a key holder. You don't do nothing right now. Like, we need you to put in some effort if you really want this job. And I was like, I was like, nope.
I'm out.
I did the SpongeBob. I'm out. Yeah.
For sure. So like when it comes to like being a business owner, like everyone knows that there's a moment that everybody's like, okay, I need to do this full time.
Yes.
It's either do it part time and do your day job part time forever and risk not ever going full time with it.
Yes.
Or just having that moment where you just jump and go for it.
Let me put it this way. I have never talked to a small business owner that did not say quitting their day job was not the best decision of their life.
Oh yeah,
That's facts.
for sure.
If they're really serious about it, if it's really like their grind, if that's what they want to do for a living, it's top priority. Nothing else beats it. And being able to be your own boss, nothing is better than that.
So what do you think about when it comes to like eBay when they sell shoes, and then how I've heard a lot of people say that they're when they authenticate things, it's not even real, and they seem like StockX, let's say, like GoDaddy or any other platforms that sell shoes.
I'm a little bit indifferent on the situation when it comes to unauthentic shoes, whatever you want to label them as. I mean, I grew up not having the most money. So I remember my dad taking me to swap meets. We would go get the regular deglers, the middle of the mall joints. And, you know, you had to make that decision at a very young age. If you wanted to rock some stuff, sometimes it wasn't always going to be real. That's why when I got my first real pair of Jordans, it was such a big deal. But even being in the customization world, I feel like a lot of people sometimes want to do a custom on a really high valued shoe, and they might not have the funds in order to do so. So they will buy a shoe that is a replica in order for me to alter or customize for their liking, whether it's, you know, putting a school logo on it or their basketball number or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's easier for them to do that rather than, and they're okay with it. You know, it's the customer making the decision at that point. When it comes for me building shoes from scratch, I have to use 100% authentic shoes when I'm taking the outsole and putting on, like, for one, you could tell the difference between an unauthentic outsole and a real authentic outsole. So I've gotten really good at it. And two, it's a respect to the customer. You're paying over $1,000 for a custom one-of-one made shoe. You want to make sure it's of best quality, of best materials.
That's facts.
So I never skim for a customer.
That's great to know, because I know that like in the custom game, as a consumer, somebody might just like, you guys kind of dance a thin line of like, okay, this isn't coming straight from the Nike factory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's probably like a whole stigma about customs in itself.
I get it
How do
daily.
you feel about that? And like, what is it like? What does that mean for you? You know what I'm saying?
One thing about sneaker customization is that you're never going to make everyone happy. I've realized that from a very early age, but I didn't make the shoe for you. I made it for the customer.
Facts.
I definitely have dealt with that through my YouTube career.
But the comments
just people commenting on the YouTube videos like, oh, it's a replica, it's a fake, you know, like, you know, customizers, they made the yellow toe 3 years before the yellow toe came out.
Yeah.
So for people to comprehend that, they're like, oh, it's a yellow toe, but it's not a yellow toe. It's a pollen Jordan 1 that's customized or something like that. They look at it, they view it as a replica because it wasn't originally released from Jordan brand or Nike.
Yeah.
They call my custom bespoke builds replicas as well. People are paying over $1,000 for those.
Yeah.
So that hits a little different than me painting an authentic pair
That makes
to
sense.
look like a different colorway, you know?
I think a while back, I heard a story about somebody who made a custom shoe and Nike ended up liking the design, but they didn't publicly come out and say that they liked the design. They just kind of just took it and dropped it.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot, especially on IG. It's always a race to who can do it first. So you hear concept colorway or you know,
they
something
drop those frequently.
Yeah. It's not even what the end result is going to look like, but it's what people are envisioning for when that drop actually comes out, even when they just have the color code.
So how do you feel about that? Like, I mean, obviously it's not like fuck Nike necessarily, but it's like, how do you feel about like big corporations kind of taking from those small businesses?
Well, one of the pairs that I did for a Nike employee was a shoe that was supposed to come out and didn't come out. And that was the patent leather Chicago Jordan 1. Oh. So they were supposed to re-retro that as a high.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'd be hard.
I don't know if this is supposed to be out there, but you know, this is what I was told by that Nike executive. And since that colorway didn't come out, that's how I met this individual, is because I have a custom colorway of the University Chicago, or the NC to Chicago patent leather joints, the Fearless Jordan 1s, and I painted it to look like a Chicago patent leather OG high.
Yeah.
And this Nike employee requested this colorway from me because it was something that was supposed to drop but didn't drop.
He had
to have it. Yeah. This happens on the regular. But this is just a specific scenario with a Nike employee. Yeah. So there's people that have their preference of it, especially at Nike and Jordan brand. Yeah. But there's definitely a part of the community where it's just generally accepted as okay. And that's where I live all the time.
That's cool. I can understand that too, just coming from like the fact that, okay, these are their shoes to start in the first place. You took it over here and did these customizations. I mean, you go, it's up in the air, you know what I mean? Like who's taken from who. But that, but it is what it is.
I never tried to take it to heart if they were to replicate like the top 3 Jordan 1 that released was just released as like a color code, and everybody was racing to see what those colors were going to be on that shoe.
Right.
And I remember doing one that was very similar to the one that dropped, but it was a lot more symmetrical rather than flip flopped on each shoe, and so that was essentially what had dropped to the public, and everybody was like, "Yo, Nike's biting this." Like it was on Nice Kicks. It was all over the place. It happens all of the time, but I mean, from what I hear, it takes about 2 years from start to finish to concept a shoe and bring it to reality for a mass production release.
Do you get in trouble from Nike as just taking a shoe and altering it and selling it for a profit?
I think Bespoke sneaker creators don't really have to worry about that. It's the people who do mass production for shoes that look like Jordan 1s, that look like Nikes. So
and they're basically cloning the actual shoe.
Yes. And they're taking up their distribution. They're taking up their factories that they work out of.
And they're probably selling them for cheaper prices too. So
they're selling them for cheaper prices. Yeah. So
that's wild.
Yeah. So as a customizer or a bespoke magician, so to speak. Seriously. Like, so are you still actively like copping sneakers and watching drops and stuff like that, or is it like, fuck that, I'm finna just be making all the fire?
So what is it, like November 8th? The Chicago Jordan 1s drop in a week, and I am on those, dude. I already paid resale on a pair, and I want to double up on a pair. And I was literally just talking to my homie. He was like, why don't you just, you make shoes? Why don't you just make it, make the shoe yourself? And I'm like, it's not the exact same, like the presentation for the Lost and Found Jordan 1 is super unique. I personally know the Sandy Bros in that like fictitious store that's on the receipt. Yeah. And so, dude, I'm going to have both of the brothers sign the receipt. Like I'm going to rock this shoe, and I'm going to beat it to the ground, and I'm going to soul swap it, and I'm going to continue rocking it for as long as I possibly can.
Yeah. That box is in itself is just a collectible too.
Seriously.
Bro.
Yeah.
So so say you miss a drop, or what do you typically get your shoes on releases? Do you got that backdoor plug, or you just kind of
not backdoor plug is StockX and GOAT, dude. Like, I probably have a pretty big account just because mainly for my customers, I buy the shoes from StockX and GOAT. So my rates are as low as can possibly be, which is nice, but I still have to deal with the fact of I make shoes for a living. So if I miss a release, I might make something similar to it. I might make something a little bit different. Yeah. But recently, the sneaker market in general has not been too crazy. Yeah. So we're able to cop. Like 2015 Chicago's were going for like over $1,000, $1,500. Yeah. People were spending whole stimulus checks to get that shoe. And now the brand new pair is dropping that is arguably better, not just presentation wide, but build materials. And they're going for $300, $350 right now. Yeah. So I'm eating that up all day long. That's why I want to get them at this price, because I remember back in 2015 when I started collecting sneakers and the original Chicago drop, I had 2 pairs of those, and I sold them both at a sneaker con in California for $250 each. It hurts me till this day because it's my number one shoe, and I never was able to get it back.
Damn. So, I was gonna ask you about that. So, would you say that's your Grail, or do you have any other? Do you have a top 2 Grails?
I would always say that anything early Kanye is super Grail for me. The Kanye Bapes, I had a replica pair of Kanye Bapes when I was young. I
always wanted those.
Yeah, I got Nike employee friends that can verify this because they were in my grade at that time. Yeah. Super dope. But yeah, dude, I anything early Kanye I love. That's an automatic Grail. And
what do you think about the Red Octobers?
Red October's fire.
Yeah, the Red Octobers are amazing. I'm really big into the Blink, the Yeezy 1 Blink, the black and pink pair, the first pair that dropped. I remember before they dropped, he was rocking them in a Carrie Hilson. No, it was like a Carrie Hilson music video. And we can't play the song, but dude, it was
that knock you down, I think, right?
But the camera pans down to his feet and he's rocking these shoes, and Carrie Hilson's rocking some heels, and it was like the first time that they had ever been seen, and I fell in love with that shoe.
Yeah, those are clean. Those made an impact. I remember seeing them on the little Baby Milo version of Kanye on like MySpace and shit, you know. The sneaker scene is crazy how it's developed, you know.
It's a whole lifestyle now. It's not just sneakers. It's a whole lifestyle.
Yeah, like I said, I never knew that I would be doing what I'm doing for a living, and it's through sneakers that I found all of this. I was able to work with Adidas. I was able to work with Nike and get to all of these benchmarks in my life, like building the YouTube channel, all evolved around sneakers. It's helped me make connections with people I could never dream of ever meeting.
And how important is having YouTube and Instagram for you right now?
The YouTube is really fun because it kind of shows, it can attest to what I'm capable of doing. It speaks to my past, my passion, but my Instagram speaks to my business, my business sense. I literally just live, like after this podcast, I'm going back to work. And what is it, like 9 o'clock right now? The grind literally never stops. And I'm constantly filming. I'm constantly uploading. I'm constantly branding myself. It's a full-time grind, having to respond to customers, having to get new customers, update my website, make all these new colorways pop. Just make sure that I'm marketing it properly. Everything down to the shipping, packaging,
everything from
marketing,
A to Z.
A to Z, everything from the start to finish.
Yeah, and we were talking about that right before we kind of got on cameras and stuff. I was like wondering, like, so for you, how important is that work-life balance? Is there any balance?
It's really tough because a lot of the time there is no balance, and I find myself running on that 25th hour all of the time. I wake up exhausted, but I go on a run. I take a shower. I go on a walk with my dog. Like I try to get myself energized right out of the gate. Pop a Red Bull after that shower, and I get straight to work. I usually work straight through breakfast. It's a constant grind. Lunchtime rolls around, still ain't eat. I'm uploading YouTube video, or not YouTube videos, but like clips and stuff to my Instagram, just to market myself or trying to work on something new.
Drop a reel or something.
Exactly, yeah. So you have to constantly make sure that you're out there. You're looking a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, 3 weeks ahead, 4 weeks ahead. Yeah. I'm planning out months ahead when packages are coming in, when I need to purchase stuff, when I need to get more customers, because customer workflow is a thing. I can't just constantly have a website open and take customers all willy nilly. I'd get overbooked way too quick.
So your time management is crucial.
Yes, yeah.
You gotta be on top of things at all times.
There's not one thought that goes through my mind in a day that isn't towards an end goal.
I like that.
Yeah. I've never found myself to be in a position to where my whole entire week is not planned. That's something that kind of grinds my gears, is when I'm trying to link up with somebody and they're like, well, what time works best for you? I'm like, I make my own schedule. So I can literally work anything around. I can literally work anything around unless it's really, really far away. I got to travel a far distance to link up with this person or to go hang out, go do this thing. Then that's the only thing that I really set time aside for. But yeah, I feel like my social life takes a backseat a lot of the time, and it's just kind of what has to happen. And that's just something that has to happen when you're a small business owner and you want to grow. If you're comfortable with where you're at, that's totally fine. That's the point of getting comfortable, is working yourself up to a point where you don't have to grind no more.
You can exhale a bit.
Exactly, so that you can breathe and relax. I'm never at that stage. I am always on go mode. And I'm only 28 years old. Like, trust me, I got another 28 more years of this in my bones before I start laying like, I'm kind of comfortable.
Right. And that's why you are where you at right now. Yeah. Because you're not slowing down.
You're not slowing down. 100%. And what software programs do you have to like maintain your clients? Like, let's say somebody comes in, inquires about a shoe. Do you have some kind of software or something that you like put them in and say, oh, I'm talking to them, and then I sold a deal, and then you have the information for like later on?
All of the pairs that ever get booked through me are either through PayPal invoice or through my Shopify account. Gotcha. My Shopify tracks everything for me. My analytics. When I do a drop, whenever I'm working, I usually will re-upload stock to take inventory of previous colorways that I've done. or I will drop a new colorway and hype it up a little bit so that people will book instantly and get a couple of bookings right off of the rip, which is super, super nice. But it's all kind of like a build up system, but it's super nice. It does all my analytics. It tracks all of my shipments, mailing addresses. I can email a customer again, because like a lot of them reach out to me on my Instagram, then they book. 99% of my workflow comes from my Instagram. I guess where I got the analytic? From Shopify. They do it all for me.
Wow.
So yeah, that's definitely the best way for me to track everything when it comes down to emails, shipping addresses, sizes, because I'm doing a lot of the exact same colorways but different sizes.
And how do you ship it out? Like, do you do it yourself, or do you have like a third party company that's for you?
Sometimes I use Shippo. I also have a connect that I've made through the sneaker industry who gives me prepaid labels up to 6 pounds for shoebox size shipments. Clutch. And I get them for a flat rate $10. So that is probably the best option for me to be able to ship out these pairs. Is sometimes I can ship out 2 pairs that's 6 pounds that can fit inside of that same size shoebox. Damn. So those really come in handy for that extra bang for your buck.
Yeah, that's actually really cool, man. I like the behind the scenes of it. I can see how that can work. So say I want to give me a nice little pair of custom shoes, like, so I just send you a DM on Instagram. How do I approach it if I have something like a vision? Do I send screenshots, or do I just type it out? What's the best way to work with you when it comes to building a custom shoe?
I really should start charging for constellations, because like I answer so many DMs in a day, dude. It's ridiculous. Sometimes I just wake up and I got 13 or 14 that I gotta answer, and they're all in different inboxes. Sometimes I just get emails because I got my email on my Instagram. Right. Some people think it's a little bit more professional to reach out that way, which is totally appreciated. But yeah, mainly I try to just have people reach out to me. If it's not a colorway that I've already done, and just for a click of a button, you can buy that colorway. Right. If you want something that's more bespoke, more one of one, then you could definitely reach out to me on my Instagram. That's at Meek Shoes. That's MEEKS shoes. So make sure you got that extra S in there.
Go give the follow
S's in the middle.
Hit that follow button.
Exactly.
Seriously, yeah. And you can reach out to me on there, and we go through the entire process. So if it's not from a material that I already own, and I got leathers on top of suedes, on top of designer leather, on top of tumbled smooth grain leather, exotic materials, pony hairs. I got all of that stuff. Just starting out. This stuff is, it's lambskin, dude. Like you could touch, when you grab this shoe and you grab the lining, you ain't touching no regular shoe.
Yeah, this is great.
The materials are nothing but premium, and everything down to the Nike logo, the Wings logo, I go through with a customer, and sometimes I'll FaceTime them. We'll go out, we'll material shop together. If they have a specific outsole they want me to use, a lot of the times they'll match a color to the outsole. That one was a difficult one to do because it's like a golden, it's like a golden tan color.
It shines too.
Yeah, and that concept was a gold metallic, and so I needed to find not only a golden leather, but something that had a little bit of sheen to it, that wasn't too sparkly with glitter. It needed to be regular, so I material shopped with the customer. Yeah, and that entails either shopping online, seeing what it looks like when it comes in. There's tons of leather that I've purchased, suedes that I've purchased that weren't the right color, right tinge. Yeah. But that's kind of the problems with buying online. I try to source a lot of my stuff locally. So Oregon Leather Company, there's a Tandy Leather that's out here as well. That's in Troutdale that I like to go to, and material shop it face to face. And actually, you can get a lot of experience and knowledge from the workers that are there, because they're leather workers. I make my own wallets. So here's a wallet that I made. I made my dog collar.
I need one.
My Frenchie's name is Louis.
Shout out Louis.
And I made him a Louis Vuitton dog collar with gold accents. You get to go out. You get to pick these hooks, these brass knuckles. You get to pick out every little tiny detail and make it. So I like leather work. It's not just shoes. I like leather work in general. So that type of concept, to be able to go there, to ask them the questions, to kind of get their expertise, their knowledge, sourcing thread, everything down to the thread. Like, let's say you want an all white shoe, but you want it contrasted with blue threading or rainbow threading, or you want to do all the panels a different type of thread. You could do that. I can make that for you.
That's why it's called custom.
Problem. It's all custom, down to the threading, dude. I make sure that we and throughout the process as well. So if let's say we throw a swoosh on there, he doesn't like it. I'm like, all right, we got 3 different colors that we could choose from. You know, we could do red, blue, or purple. And we'll go through it. And then we want tumbled or we want smooth grain. I go through the entire process with the customer to make sure that they're happy with the outcome before the final product is actually given to them. Down to the size of the hole punches in the toe box. You know, like you want everything to be as accurate as possible. Exactly. I know that every single pair that I knock out, I'm about, I don't know, probably about 25 pairs deep. And I just started making shoes this year. But my expertise that I've gained through those 25 pairs allowed me to get to a more finer tuned product that's more presentable for the customer.
And how long will that take you from the point somebody inquires that you guys approve it to the point where they get the shoe?
Sometimes it depends about what their money look like, because these are expensive, right? Yeah. You know, people are paying over $1,000 for a pair of bespoke one-of-one created shoes. So when you talk about material costs, we are the outsole alone. You have to buy a whole nother pair of Jordan, right, just to take off the upper and just use the outsole.
And you keep the upper part or what?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot over there. I could material test with them. I could donate them to customizers. A lot of people want to make them into wallets and stuff like that, which is real dope. There's somebody who's local that you should definitely check out on a possible future podcast. Yeah. His name is Kevin Concepts. He's amazing in the sneaker community and somebody that I definitely aspire to work with in the future on a collaborative project, whatever it may be.
Yeah, we'll check them out.
Yeah,
I think that'd be dope too.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just kind of boils down to, trying to factor in how feasible this is. A lot of people think I'd make a lot of money out of a shoe just for $1,000. The lambskin that I could buy for your project can cost over $150. That's just for the sock. That's just for the sock liner, you know? Yeah. Not even the rest of the shoe. The outsole itself can be $100 to $200, depending on what color it needs to be, or if it needs to have an aged or vintage look to it. Sometimes I'll put in the additional work to age the shoe. That's what I'm going to be doing later tonight for this project that's coming up. And then you have to talk about the leathers, the suedes, the uppers, the laces, lace tips. I have a plethora of everything. Nike Air tags to sew onto a shoe, or I can make it from scratch. I can make the Wings logo from scratch.
That's hard.
So there's a lot that goes into it, and I could be in total, from presentation to the outsole to the materials, to the materials needed to make the shoe and form the shoe, can be upwards of $400-$600.
That makes total sense.
So let's talk about these shoes real quick. You showed this earlier.
Yes.
So obviously that's a backward swoosh, or Travis Scott. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So could you explain like what's not original, I guess you can say, from the shoe, or what did you do to it exactly? So yeah,
this was a shoe. This was actually the very first shoe that I ever made from scratch, and I did 10 pairs. This is pair number 6. From that collection. And essentially I wanted to take the friends and family colorway of the Travis Scott high, and I wanted to put it on a low because I'm really feeling lows at the moment, you know? So I did that concept, and when I was material searching for this shoe, the first leather that I laid my eyes on was this bison leather. And the bison leather kind of reached out to me and spoke to me. It let me know that this was the colorway that I was supposed to do for my very first shoe made from scratch.
That texture is pretty clean.
It's super unique.
It's so different.
It's really durable. Yeah, it's really durable as well because it's super, super tough. Yeah. The skin on a buffalo gets worked out a lot throughout its entire life. And so it has a completely different structure than a cowhide, But the rest of the shoe I just wanted to make out of some really premium leather materials. So I have white tumbled leather and I have black tumbled leather. The laces are just laces that came from the donor's shoe. And
what's the red?
That OG swoosh in there. So the tag, I purchased these tags from somebody named Iggy Kicks, somebody who I met through the sneaker community when I was still customizing shoes. I didn't really like sewing. Dude, I don't like painting.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, does this come from like an art background? Or
I don't have an art background. That's the craziest thing, is like all of this happened accidentally. I don't have an art background, but I ended up painting. I ended up learning how to color match. I ended up learning how to add glitters into paint, just to do some pretty wild stuff. And throughout that, I've found a liking for making shoes from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
Now I like learning about materials, the leathers, the suedes, what long hair, what short hair is, using using different cuts of that same cow hide, because some of it's more smooth than others. Some of them, the fibers are more loose than others. So there's a lot that goes down into building a shoe from scratch. For a lot of the times I use different liners. I just did a 1985 OG bread, and for that cut I wanted it to be super accurate, and so when I built it I used a perforated moisture wickening mesh, and that was the closest thing that I could find to an OG 1985 Jordan 1 sock liner.
Wow.
So the material searching is the craziest part.
There's so much that goes into it.
It's the craziest
these are
part.
pretty
The
much the same
craftsmanship is
one.
on point, man. The quality control, like
So these are the same one as those?
Yeah, so this is actually an iteration. So I had a dog. I had a dog who was a blue heeler Australian Shepherd mix, and he passed away in December. This is right when I started to make the decision to build shoes from scratch. And so since then, I had somebody reach out to me and was like, "Hey, you're making shoes from scratch now. Why not make like a memorial shoe for him?" So I made one called the Air Tigre, because that was his name, was Tigre. And I made these custom little hang tags that are dog tags that can hang off of the shoe.
I like that, bro.
And I wanted it to be made of the colors of his fur. So it had the gray suede, and then it had the black, and it had the white. All
That's
mixed
clean.
into it.
That's clean.
Yeah.
And what about these back here? You have like a zipper.
Yeah, so this is kind of getting into like that leather work,
Right.
Like I don't want to do some regular shit.
Right.
I want to do something that's kind of unique, kind of different, kind of out there. I want to press myself as somebody who works with sneakers to kind of get outside my comfort zone.
Right.
That's why I started with something as simple as a wallet, because it's just 3 panels
Right.
that you can sew together,
man.
super
Fold 'em
easy.
up.
Yeah. This was something that was a little bit more difficult. I guess you would call
That
it kind
looks
of like a
tight.
lace shroud or a lace dubray. There is the
it's
one
like
that's
elephant
similar.
print, like that's sick.
Exactly. Yeah, so there's a Travis Scott that dropped, and it's an Air Force One, and with that Air Force One, it came with like this lace shroud on top of it that was made out of corduroy. I thought it was super, super dope. I had a vision to make it, but I wanted to make it out of premium materials. So this is lambskin, and then it has cement print, which is super dope
clean,
accent. You could literally take this off, pop it on any shoe. The concept is to make a bunch of these, and you could zip it right down the middle, take it off of the shoe, and you could swap it with other pairs. And so you can
that's
mix
sick.
and match.
So that's just an extra accessory
It's
that
an
you
extra
can
accessory,
you
yeah.
can put it on anything you want to rock it with.
Yeah,
that's
actually,
hard.
last time I rocked these was for July 4th at a July 4th party.
Yeah,
Independence
I'm surprised
Day.
they survived.
Yeah. No, I love these. I
When
love
I got
these.
the all whites on, man, I go to a
Are
party.
these all your personal shoes or customer shoes?
So the ones that I just showed you, those are from my personal collection, just something that I kind of did for myself to kind of test myself. These are actually customer's pair. He just let me hold on to them
So it's
until
mixed. So it's different
off.
colorway on each one then.
No, yeah. So yeah, two separate pairs.
Oh,
two
okay,
separate
okay,
pairs.
okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there's two
Just
of
one
these
of
and then
each.
two
Oh,
of
I
these.
thought it was a.
No, it looks like it would.
could work.
It looks like it would definitely do that. I actually have a concept that I'm doing right behind me. That's kind of more of like they call it the Lance Mountain esque type of vibe. It's blue and red, which are like super OG colorways.
Right.
But you do one colorway that's slightly different. And you swap the shoes, and once you swap the shoes, you're able to make a whole new colorway out of it.
Yeah.
So just to kind of show you guys the concept of it, this is kind of what an unfinished shoe looks like. And I wanted to make a concept shoe that had both red and blue on each shoe. So as you can see, there's one left and right shoe that's going to be red and blue.
With the
and
black
then on the other side, it's got the exact contrast of that, but still has that red and blue.
Oh, yeah.
So if you
We
ever
haven't seen
want
that.
to, you can swap it. And then boom, you got a left and right blue shoe that has accents that are slightly different for the swoosh and the
Yeah,
other
that's
ones.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
I like to test limits. I like to push myself. I like to do stuff that nobody else has done.
As you should.
This comes as a pack and only as a pack because it has red and
So
blue
do you get
outsoles.
4 pairs or 4 shoes, or
Yep.
is it okay? That's
Yep,
crazy.
literally twice the work.
pair.
So the customer who bought those had to pay $2,000
Twice the
for them.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's easier work for me too because I'm able to do 2 built at the exact same time
Yeah.
and still netting that income
And it's something you're passionate about too. You get to exercise that creativity.
You don't wake up thinking, "Oh, I gotta get up and do this job." You get up and fucking work.
Every single day, I'm happy. I get to work. I get to wake up and I get to do what I do for a living. There's the excitement is never gone. Right. I lied. So when I was painting shoes, when I was customizing sneakers for a living, there was a time where it felt really, really repetitious because what I was doing was larger increments of colorways that were a lot cheaper than something like a $1,000 build.
Oh yeah.
So for me to make $1,000, I got to paint 5 separate pairs of shoes, which is a lot of work. Yeah, compared to working and building one shoe from scratch. So that's why I generalize my time more towards building shoes from scratch and knocking out all of those painted customs on the side so that I can solely just build brand new sneakers from scratch.
That's tight.
For the rest of my life. And this has gained a new passion in the sneaker creative mindset that I used to have when I lost that passion a little bit for painting sneakers.
Definitely, man. You've been killing it. So what's next for you? Have you thought about creating just like your own like super unique shoe that just is your brand of shoe?
Yes, a lot of people who do what I do have created their own patterns, made their own shoes. One that I really envy is this creator called JBF Customs.
Oh, I know JBF. Dude, I don't know him personally, but I know his work.
JBF has been popular since like the jerking days, dude.
Yeah.
He used to do the Python. Yeah, he used to do the Python snapbacks.
Snaps.
Those were crazy with the gold buckles on the back. Yeah. So I've known JBF for a super long amount of time. Yeah. And he's somebody who's I've always looked up to. And recently he started building this shoe called the Slingshot, and it kind of looks like a Jordan 1 upper, a Jordan 1 low upper, but it's on a Jordan 4 outsole. So it's super unique. Yeah, it's super unique, but still familiar at the exact same time. And so I've had that concept before, and I don't want to ruin the concept that I have in my mind.
Yeah.
But let's just say it's an alteration of something that I already do, the Jordan 1 and the Jordan High. So I want to alter the Jordan Mid and recreate the Jordan Mid, essentially.
I think you should.
That's the
Go
concept.
for that shit.
That's as much as I can give you right now until I actually start making the shoe.
That's totally fine, bro. And you can always drop that and build it, drop the V2. You know what I'm saying? You can tweak it. Just keep going with that. I really think you should.
Yeah,
you can't fail with that.
This is my 6th pair of this shoe. It looks a lot better than the very first one that I made.
Oh, I bet.
I leveled up. I've gotten a little bit better with the consistency.
This looks better than some of the QC I see come from
Nike itself. Nike itself, man.
Exactly.
Hey, so I saw on your Instagram that you have 2 different sponsors.
Yes,
so,
I do.
Explain what they are, who they are, and how important it is them to be part of your business.
It was a really, really big milestone for me to get sponsorship. I mean, to be able to work with really large brands has always been a passion for mine, but getting a sponsorship is a little bit different than just being able to work with a really big brand. Because I've worked with Nike, I've worked with Adidas, but not consistently, I'm not on their payroll or anything like that. So I remember for a very long time when I was painting, I was always chasing a sponsorship from the paint company, Angelus. Always consistently tagging them in every single post, throwing their name in and on screen on YouTube videos, really trying to build up that hype around me and the brand. And it's something that just never happened. So when my first sponsorship came through, it was originally with Rejuvenator, and that changed my life. I was really big into restorizing shoes at the time. And so working with a company like Rejuvenator just seemed to work. And it was really nice. We got to launch a couple of products together, which was super, super cool, and kind of get my feet wet. But after that originally had fallen through, after the rebranding for Rejuvenator, I got reached out to by Crepotect. And just got to know them originally from sneaker cons back in like 2017, 2018, when I moved back to Vancouver. But just working with their marketing teams, being able to get seated special products, which is really, really cool. My other sponsorship is with Sultries, and so that is actually
that's so valuable for what you do.
I use inside of these shoes. It helps keep the shape of them, and it's kind of nice and a nice extra premium touch when you pay a lot of money to get something like this. It's
they
part
give
of the. It's part of the brand. It's
The
part
whole
of what you
package.
get with Meek shoes.
What do they exactly do besides you use the product? Do they give you a discount? Do they give it for free? How does the sponsorship work?
It works both ways. So I'm able to get discounted products when I need them.
course.
I'm able to get free products. I'm able to do giveaways with them, which is really, really nice. So either I will work in conjunction with them to release something and give something away, or they'll mail it out to me for me to be able to give it out to the public. I'm not super huge into giveaways and stuff like that until it's requested upon me. So it's kind of difficult for me to focus my time towards that,
Yeah,
going
'cause
out
it
of
takes
my way
time.
to
Yeah.
build up, suspense and
hype and shit,
get
yeah.
activity up on my page for that specific thing. And that's not normally what people go to my page to go see.
Exactly.
Right.
But I'm not gonna lie, like these sponsorships are definitely nice to have underneath my belt and be able to help me get to that next place,
Right.
next place of quality and standard when it comes to the sneaker business.
And what's your second
awesome.
sponsor? Is it cleaner or is it a
He says,
No, so yeah, Crep Protect is the cleaner.
Okay.
Yeah, just mainly to clean your shoes, deodorize them,
Protect it, yeah.
protect them.
Gotcha.
Water stain repellents, which is really
that's
big
dope.
when it
Clutch.
comes to the suede stuff.
suede,
So,
yeah.
So
Bro,
when you-
I remember stepping in a puddle with some suede shoes, bro.
Oh,
Did me
man.
dirty.
Dude, even the leather, even the
That too.
tumbled leather pairs,
That too.
they can get stained when it comes to
true.
that.
Darkens
Especially
it
the
up.
Portland Northwest. bro.
do you apply a protectant every time you do a?
Not every single time. Not every single time.
Is that something that they can add on?
A lot of the times they request it from me. Yeah,
That's what's up.
exactly.
It's like a
a
ceramic
sealant.
coating.
Yeah, even
Yeah,
those,
basically, yeah.
even those are temporary. It'd be really nice to if I got so big and I just had an inventory of all of this stuff, and they can just get a bottle of water stain repellent
Right.
with the shoe that they buy from me. But baby steps, we're working there. We're getting
And
there.
what type of advice would you get somebody that wants to start doing this that you would tell them now that you didn't know back then when you first started?
Right.
Doing my work specifically, or just kind of wanting to start their own
Just
business?
in general, for example, obviously somebody's gonna start out doing restoration and painting. That's how they. I guess most people are gonna get the foot in the door.
Yeah, I would say your normal grind kind of never stops. So you have to make sure that if you want this to become a full-time thing, you have to put in the legwork. A lot of people look at my page or they find my page and they're like, yo, how do you do this? It's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I'm 7 years in this.
Yeah.
I'm 7 years in this.
People
this
think
did
it's
not
overnight.
happen
Yeah.
overnight. This
Yeah.
did not happen overnight. And I had to find myself through this too. Like I didn't know it was going to be a thing until I moved back from Idaho and I wanted to pursue it as an actual career. So I never started this with the intent of having it be a full-time job. That's what I'm saying. It's completely accidental. So they might not have that same intent. Maybe they want to focus on YouTube. YouTube was what got me into editing and producing and, searching up my own copyright-free music, sound effects, all that stuff. And it was something I was really passionate about. I wanted to take professional photography and video for weddings at one point,
Yeah.
It was just I was really focused on photography at the time. So there's always that one friend who's like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and they never stick to one thing and actually put the effort in to make it a career.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what I did when I moved back from Idaho and I quit my job. I decided to make it a career, and that decision happens to every small business owner,
Oh, yeah.
no matter how big or small.
So you're saying basically never be afraid to just try something. Get out there and do stuff. See if it works. If it doesn't work, try the next thing. Keep
Exactly,
building.
exactly.
Or just keep trying until it works. 'Cause
Just don't be all
eventually
over the place.
the consistency will pay off.
Yeah, consistency is really, really
That's
big.
the key, yeah.
When it was YouTube, when it was Instagram, when it was just general growth for my business, consistency has always
I think that's in
it
general like
positively.
all over the place. Even with this podcast, like we have to consistently keep getting
guys are
guests on
doing
every
another
week,
one tomorrow.
and then boom,
Yeah.
and then boom, and then releasing. Once we start releasing stuff, it's gonna be like I don't know, once a week, maybe twice a week. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it has to
gonna
be
leave for
consistent.
4 days after tomorrow, right? So
Right.
I'm gonna film some reels. I'm gonna have them uploaded ahead of time.
Schedule
and I'll make
them
sure
out.
I'm still dropping stuff.
Yeah, even though you're on vacation, you're not really on vacation.
Exactly.
People don't know that it has
Never
a scheduled
disappeared.
post.
I'm still gonna be
Yeah.
answering DMs. I'm still gonna
Yeah,
have to be
yeah.
making sure shipments get to where they need to be.
It's not- it's
I
not
still
9
need
to
to
5.
track stuff coming in because I still have stuff coming in for future projects
Yeah.
that I'm still tracking. So yeah, it's a constant grind.
So-
you're never off.
Be prepared to not clock out for a long time.
Never clock out.
Some of the customers be international, so you have to work on their
They're
hours.
awake and you're sleeping.
You have to work, yeah. I've done
That's
pairs
so
in
true.
Dubai, France,
Damn, that's
Wow,
good.
that's wild.
Kenya. Dude, I've done
Kenya?
pairs everywhere. Literally everywhere. Yeah.
That's
so-
dope.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. No, I didn't even think about that in context. Like the international people who still have products that they want to receive,
Yes.
you really can't get off the clock. Yeah,
That's wild.
Yeah, that's just business ownership at its finest, bro. Yeah, bro. But yeah, we appreciate you.
Yes,
we
sir.
really do, bro. We're proud of everything that you've been doing. This shit is really a big movement, and I just want to see you to continue to grow. You know what I mean?
Nah, you guys too. I'm super. Like I said, unity in the community. I'm more than happy to hop on another one in the future.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk more business soon.
Absolutely, bro. And I need to get some shoes too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tap in with you.
Let's
We're gonna do something crazy.
man.
We're gonna do something crazy. Hell yeah, man. So yeah, this is what it is. It's the PDX Business Podcast, PDX Biz Talk, where we talk to real business owners and have real conversations about business, of course.
Yep.
And I go by the name of Zeke Jones. And this is my boy Johnny Hernandez.
Yep.
And this is my boy Meek Shoes. Make sure you follow up with him as well, man. Make sure you follow him on the Instagram and reach out if you got the budget and the
Meek Shoes.
Hey, I take payment plans.
There you go. Hey,
you know, make it happen, bro. We can make it work.
Make sure you guys follow us on YouTube.
Make sure
subscribe.
Follow us, like, subscribe, comment. Oh yeah, let us know if there's anybody that you think that we should get on the podcast. Make sure you comment below, and we'll see if we can make it happen, man. Have a good night, y'all.
Peace out.